Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Adrienne and I make beauty related content, makeup in particular. I especially love eyeshadow palettes, and I'm a licensed esthetician and also a bridal makeup artist, so occasionally you may see some makeup artistry content or skincare on this channel, but today I'm coming to you with the BH Cosmetics haul. This haul I'm recording on November 23rd. I feel like it's so important to get it out. I just got off of BH Cosmetics website and saw that they're having a sale for 70% off. I did order this stuff last week, at the beginning of last week. I got some of it on sale, but not 70% off. So for starters, I'm going to get into the Birthstone series. This has been going on obviously since the beginning of the year. I'm a late comer to the Birthstone collection, so I'm going to go a little backwards. I'm going to start with this month's Birthstone, and it is the Citrine palette. It's what I'm wearing today. I do have a recorded video of this look, how I put this look together with this palette and what my thoughts are on this palette. That video will go up on Thanksgiving Day, this Thursday. So this is what the Birthstone palette looks like. They're a 7-pan palette, trying not to flash you too much with the ring light, and I just sat here and dug my fingernail into this shade up here, so I'm wearing the majority of it on my pants. I will try after I finish recording to get this all pressed back into the palette, but this is what the palette looks like. It has 6 smaller pan shades and 1 large shade to represent the Citrine. This one is a glitter shade. For people that don't like pressed glitters, I just want you to know that that's in the palette. And let me grab something to wipe this off of my hands and I'll be right back. Now we're going to go into January's palette, which is Garnet. This is my stepdaughter's Birthstone palette. So every time one of my close family members has a birthday in the month, the palette always reminds me of them. These are some beautiful red shades. Garnets do come in several different hues, a brownish red, brighter red. So this is a good variation of a garnet palette, and for the glitter shade they did go with the black. So I would like to see how all that matches together, and I think that this might be a palette that I end up getting brave with and decide to try the glitter just to see what it's going to look like. It seems like it'd be pretty vampy with that red if you combine that black glitter with it. But moving on to February's palette, it is the Amethyst palette. This one I was excited to see what it was going to look like because I do like purple eyeshadow so much, and the large pan Birthstone shade, the purple, is gorgeous. I thought it would have more purple in here, but it would be a little bit overkill. They did go in with some fuchsia shades and like a rose shade here, a dusty type rose, and a peachy shade here. This also looks like a periwinkle shade, so I'm curious to see what that is going to look like. But the glitter here kind of looks like it's got multicolors in it. I don't know if that's coming off. Looks like a gold and almost a rose gold, but I could be wrong. Some of these palettes, I think just out of sheer curiosity, when I create looks with them, I am going to want to get into the glitter. I just didn't do it with the Citrine palette because I was in such a hurry to get this recorded so that you guys could take advantage of this sale. And moving on to the next month, which is March, and it is the Aquamarine palette. This palette, I think I can do something with it. I'm kind of questioning it a little bit, but I'm going to give it my best effort because it is what it is. This is how they put it together, and they realized that they would have many people of different skin tone ranges purchasing these palettes, but the main shade in the palette is pretty light, but this is pretty deep, and I feel like if you go in more so with this, if you've got a richer skin tone and maybe buff the edges with this, you should be able to make this pop. So this might be a little bit of a challenge, but I'm up for it. And the next palette is the Diamond palette for the month of April. And I like this outer packaging. It's so shimmery and reflective. It's probably pretty annoying to you, so I am sorry for doing that and bouncing the reflection off the ring light. But this is what that palette looks like. And looking at this palette, this will definitely be a challenge for me because the darkest shade, make sure I get my pinky finger down so I don't dig the shade out of the palette. This is a very metallic, sparkly shade, almost so metallic that it almost looks like sheer pressed glitter, but obviously this chunky glitter here, it's kind of chunky, the silver, which I do think is pretty. That's the glitter shade for the palette, but this one definitely looks like it's going to give me a run for my money, but just like the aquamarine, I am up for the challenge on that palette. The next Birthstone palette is the month of May. It is the Emerald palette. This palette is gorgeous. I love greens, and there's a grungy green, couple grungy greens in there. The main shade of green is a little more poppy, the main emerald shade, so that's pretty interesting. And their choice of glitter, that definitely is pretty special. It is definitely a multicolored glitter. I see orange in it, I see gold, and I think I see like a lighter green than this, reflects of green in that glitter, so I'm going to have to try it just to see what it does with the rest of the shadow shades in the palette. But that is May, the Emerald palette, and the next month is June, and June is the Pearl. So the outer carton to the Pearl, it's kind of pretty. It's got different shades mixed in with it. I guess pearls do reflect different shades, but this is a pretty palette. I didn't know what to really expect for this, but it seems like they've chosen to go with the warmer tones inside the Pearl palette. It actually looks like it would go pretty good with the Citrine palette also, some of the shades that are in here. Like the two of them could be used together to create a look, which I would never think of putting a fall shade with an early summer palette, but this did turn out to be a surprise for me, so I definitely see where, ooh, I almost stuck my finger in this again, where this is not going to be an issue for me to create a look with. And the next palette is the month of July, and that is Ruby. That is my son's birthstone month, so I had to have this one for sure. This is very pretty and poppy on the colors. I'm loving the red glitter. This reminds me of ruby slippers. I think the Wizard of Oz and ruby slippers when I see this, so I definitely will play in that glitter shade. But the red, I didn't know what to expect. Rubies come in so many different hues. This is a little bit lighter than what I thought they would go with. I thought they would go with a deeper, richer ruby, but like I said with the garnet, those shades vary so much that you can get rubies in any hue. So this one is got a pretty color selection also. Next month's Birthstone palette is August. It is Peridot. I know some people say Peridot, but I've always heard the jewelers say Peridot, so that's what I'm going to say. And this is what the inside of this palette looks like. It is beautiful also. This green, oh, the main shade of green is such a gorgeous metallic lime looking green shade, or I guess I shouldn't call it lime, I should call it Peridot since it is a Peridot palette. And this looks almost turquoise, so this is a really interesting pops of color in here, and this one looks like an evergreen color, and the glitter shade in the palette is a very bright lime green, so this ought to create really beautiful looks. The Peridot palette really looks like it would pair well with the May palette. So I'm excited about that one too. There isn't much that I'm not excited about. Some of the earlier palettes, like I said, they look like they might be a challenge, but I'm still excited to have that challenge and to see if the quality of each one of these stays the same throughout the whole series. And the next month is September, and it is the Sapphire palette. The Sapphire palette, I was really curious what they were going to choose for a sapphire because I've seen so many different shades of sapphire, but this is what they decided to go with, and it is a pretty bluish purple type shade. It's a little more purple looking in the palette than what I thought a sapphire was going to be. I thought it was going to be more of a darker type blue shade, but I love purple shadows and I love blue, so it really doesn't matter to me either way. This shade is a gorgeous blue. Can't wait to see what that looks like, and I'm not quite sure what this one is. This is obviously purple, and I don't know how good this glitter is coming into frame, but it is definitely multicolored glitter. It is really pretty. It almost looks holographic, like it's got a little bit of everything mixed. Palette I have to show you is the Opal palette. That is October's palette. And this one, the cover looks a little bit like the Pearl palette, but it's got a lot more reflex of different colors in it, as opals almost look like a marbled effect, kind of. This one is gorgeous pastel palette. When I think of a palette, like if you're talking seasonal palettes, this seems more like it would have been a spring palette, but this is true to an opal, like some of the different reflex that you would find in an opal. So this palette, I'm looking at it, and this one might be a little bit of a challenge. I don't know if I'm going to have to pull in something else. There isn't really too much of a deep shade besides this metallic shade here in the palette. Everything is pretty pastel or shimmery, really light shimmery. Let me go ahead and scooch over, because the next things that I picked up, I don't think they're going to come into frame without me scooting a little bit. I got the Do Not Disturb palette, and no, I am not holding this palette upside down. For some reason, the writing on my palette is upside down. Please let me know down in the description box if they did this intentionally, if you have this palette, if yours came like this. It does have a mirror, and the mirror's got some writing on it. I'm going to hold it like this so I'm not blinding you. But this color story really spoke to me. Out of all the other palettes, this was the only one with the name of the palette that was acceptable to me to get. There were some other ones that I liked also, but I didn't really think that the way they name their palettes, I didn't really find that to be cute, nor is it something that I wanted in my collection to make a video of a palette with those names that I wasn't going to be able to say. But this color story is really pretty, so I'm excited to work with that, obviously, or I would not have ordered the palette. And I have been wanting the next palette for a while. The St. Tropez palette, it was on sale also when I got it. It does not have a mirror, and I can't get the plastic off. I hope it's not too shiny to where you can't see. The plastic's wrapped all the way around the palette. But this is another really colorful palette, and I have gotten to the point where I've got quite the collection of these palettes. I think over the summer I did post a haul of some of the palettes like this that I picked up. This is a awesome colorful palette that I feel like would be good in the summer, and I wear whatever I want year round, so it doesn't matter if it's winter or summer. But in the spring and the summer, it is nice when living in Illinois and such gray cold weather to pull out some of those more poppy shades. It just helps my mind mentally feel like it's gonna be warm. But this is like the first truly fall look that I've gotten to create for a video for, so I'm so excited to have that recorded. And I hope you guys get a chance to go over to BH Cosmetics website if you were wanting to pick up any of those palettes and catch them while they're still 70% off. If you know there's a palette that I showed you today that you would like to have in your collection, let me know down in the comment box, and maybe I'll make it a priority if you let me know to get that one up a little bit faster. I'm so delayed in getting the collection. I guess it doesn't matter if I go in order or not. It's okay to not go by the month January through November, but to go ahead and do whatever you guys want to see first. But at $5.40, you can't really go wrong with picking up one of those palettes. I don't know. There's some other things that I want from BH Cosmetics that I know that I don't need, but with picking up that December Birthstone palette when it comes out, I know I'm going to want to get free shipping. I'm such a sucker for free shipping that I will end up buying all kinds of stuff just to get the free shipping, when I could have just got off cheaper if I would have paid for the shipping. I am not going to keep rambling on. That's it for today's video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and help support the channel by subscribing. I'll see you guys soon.